Hello and welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hey everyone, we're really glad you're here again today.
We're excited to have you with us, where today we're going to be talking about using a specific feature called follow-up plans in AttractWell to help you manage your projects and manage your recurring tasks. So you never drop the ball and you get some more of your time back. So I'm really curious to know, as you guys are heading into the chat here to say hello, let us know where you're from. Go ahead and also tell us a little bit about what a day in the life looks like for you. What are you working on in your business on an ongoing basis? Are you very project focused, or do you have a lot of things that you're maybe reacting to or managing in terms of, a variety of tasks that you engage with in your business, whether that be to grow it, to sustain it? Let us know. What does that look like for you? We may even be able to kind of chat through some of those specific use cases and how to optimize them and plan using these features in AttractWell today. This is a live call that we offer every Thursday at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time. If you are a coach, a consultant, if you sell your expertise, if you have products that you sell, you want to have a platform where you can manage your business, where you can grow your business, where you can serve and scale. You can do all of that in one place here with AttractWell, whether you want to have your website, you want to deliver courses, programs, even e-commerce is something that we include as well. If you want to reach out, be in touch, whether that be text or email, that's all here. And of course, today, what we're going to be talking about is a feature that allows you to stay on top of your to-dos. So typically, this is something that you'll see used in contact management, right? So if you're using a CRM, or in our case, we call it a contact manager, to maybe track the pipeline of your business from lead to close, especially if you are actively engaged and not completely automating that process, it's really important for you to be able to be reminded that when it's time to do something, to follow up, to take a step. Maybe you're onboarding a client or you're engaging with a new lead, and you want to always remember to maybe look them up on social media and like one of their posts and leave a comment, right? You're not always going to remember to do that, but you can have your handy dandy friend inside AttractWell tell you to do that when it's time to do it for those respective contacts. So we're going to get into a couple of use cases like that here today. Like I mentioned, if you have any use cases you'd like to explore, super interested in hearing what that looks like for you. So Greg and I are going to pop out of video and we're going to get into some slides that I've prepared with you for you today. And then we do have several folks who are here for a live work review, so we'll get into that here as well. So again, welcome. Today we're talking about how we can organize our tasks and projects using a feature called follow-up plans in AttractWell. So we're going to talk about how you can streamline and manage the way you spend your time, starting with recurring tasks, so the things that your business needs from you every single week. And of course, we will also talk about what it looks like to manage your one-time projects. From there, we'll talk about the tools in AttractWell to help you get it all done. We are focusing on follow-up plans today, but right with AI can play a really powerful role in this as well. We'll have our live help and Q&A, of course, at the close of this call, as always. If you're here on the live call and you have questions, whether they pertain to today's subject or something else entirely, you've got the founder of the platform right here who can answer your questions, or if it's something that you would like for me to discuss and walk through with you, we've got that option here as well. So go ahead and add those questions to the Q&A if you came here with them. And if you would like to join us on a call like this one, if you're watching this as a replay, you can go to attractwell.com/office hours to be on the list, to get notified for these calls, to be able to join us live, and of course, get the replays and resources when we offer them. If you'd like to work together live, we do dedicate the second half of these calls to working one-on-one with you here in the community. You can go to attractwell.com/work review to pick a future Thursday. Again, this is a 2 p.m. US Eastern Time call, and we do dedicate the second half of the hour. So around the 2:30 mark, sometimes a little bit more, depending on our subject of conversation for the day. We will work together in that time with folks who have reserved that space. And of course, we get into Q&A as well. Now, if you are looking to just hand off your project to someone to get it off your plate for you, we've got you covered there as well. You can go to attractwell.com/concierge to learn more. Now, question for you. Does this sound familiar? Have you ever set out to, sit down and get work done, And after an hour or maybe two, it's not done. And you wonder where the time went, not even close to completing the thing that you set out to do. See, this is a really common challenge for basically all of us. And it's an even bigger challenge when you are the one in charge, when you are the one that's accountable to and for yourself. If you are coming from an employment circumstance previously, this is something that you really have to start thinking about because you may be in a position that you held previously. You plugged into an existing structure that told you what you needed to do, when you needed to do it, what the scope looked like, what the boundaries were. And we have to endeavor to create those structures when we're working for ourselves. And this is something that we don't necessarily expect that we have to do, but the sooner we realize that we have an issue that we need to fix, the better off we are, because this really is something that once you've got a handle on organizing the way you work, you really can do some pretty extraordinary things with your time, and really get a lot done in less time. So let's talk about how we can streamline and structure our work. And this begins with sometimes rethinking or reframing what our work is and how we get it done, and maybe spending a little bit of time kind of breaking it into categories. So that's our first step, is to identify our tasks, the things that we do, the actions we take, the labor we perform to grow our business, to sustain our business, to deliver to our clients. So first, we're going to categorize and identify what we're doing. Now, I highly recommend that you actually just perform an audit on your activities, an honest one, based on what it is that you're actually doing, not what you think you ought to be doing, but how you are literally spending your time. So the way that I like to do this is to just have a sheet of paper and have it sitting next to you wherever it is that you're doing your work. So if you work at a desk, put this piece of paper on your desk. And every time you go to your physical space to perform work, you sit down and maybe before you start doing what it is that you're doing, or maybe right after, your preference, you write down what you did, how long you did it, and the purpose, right? What was the reason you did the thing that you were doing? All right. So write down all the tasks for a week. How often do you perform them? What outcome do these have in your business? So if I do this, this happens. What does that look like? And then I want you to, in this list that you are building after you've audited, I want you to create separate lists for things that are recurring, meaning reliably week over week or month over month, quarter over quarter. I'm going to be doing these same things. And even daily, like daily, these are things that I do every day. Separate those tasks from your one-time tasks or maybe your project tasks. So I want to create a thing, perhaps in AttractWell. So some examples here, recurring, so things you might do every day, every week, etc. That's going to be following up with your leads, if that's a part of what you do. Networking, onboarding your clients. These are recurring tasks. It's things that you will do and likely do the same way, following the same steps over and over again, right? So those are your recurring tasks. And then we've got project tasks. So these are things that we will do far less frequently. Maybe they involve multiple steps. And so in this case, maybe you are endeavoring to have all of your blog content sorted and scheduled for publication. And you want to do that on a quarterly basis. That is a little bit of a project. You might want to dedicate an afternoon, a weekend, or 2 days, or however you want to do it, to get all of that content together and set up for automation once a quarter, right? So that's a project, a quarterly project. So there is a little bit of a recurring element there, but it is something that and this may be the case, I think, with a lot of projects. There may be multiple steps that you endeavor, but it's important to make a distinction between these are the everyday things, we'll say, and then these are the occasional things, right? Recurring versus project. So another way to look at our recurring versus project tasks is to maybe look at these through the lens of what keeps the business running. Right. So there are things that you can do to optimize. Those typically fall into project categories. And then there are things that you do, right? And some things are, you are irremovable from those tasks. One of the things that I really love doing with that audit exercise that I mentioned previously, after you've dumped out all of the tasks that you perform, And you maybe also, gather up some ideas for other things that you know you do, but you didn't do that week. I like to break down into 3 or 4 columns, depending on how you run your business. We've got our daily category of tasks, weekly, and then maybe monthly or quarterly, and then annual or occasional, right? So I like to break it down into those levels so I can really take note of all of the labor that I know I need to perform so that I can go from there and say, all right, of these things, what can I batch to save time because they're large tasks? What can I automate so I can create something that shows up on my behalf? Maybe a tool that can be evergreen. For instance, a funnel could produce something like this. Or is this something that I can or should outsource, right? So maybe this is outside of my scope of genius. It would be a really smart move for me to not have to learn how to do the thing that gets me that result. I can actually hire someone to do that for me, right? So can I automate, batch, or delegate these tasks? So think about those. Typically with bigger projects, if it is something that you know that you're going to do yourself and not delegate to someone else, these are going to be things that you're going to be performing maybe batch work with. And I will use maybe blog publishing and batching your blog publishing and creating a plan for that as an example, just so you guys can see what that looks like. But what I also want you to consider is what recurring looks like to keep your business running. Think about all of the steps that you would perform and do the same time every time you do it. So this is going to look like your prospecting pipeline and the steps that you want to make sure that you follow in order for that to help lead a conversation toward a close. You want to also maybe think about the steps that you'll follow with every new client that you onboard. So again, you've got a consistent system that you're following. All right. So what we're going to do in AttractWell is create follow-up plans that help to streamline those recurring tasks. So when we know we want to systematize our work so that we can create measurable, predictable results, we need to make sure that every time we do what we're doing, so for instance, every time I sit down and say, I'm going to onboard a new client, I need to make sure that I'm following the same steps with that client that I will with the next one and the next one, right? I want to create a consistent experience so that I know that I'm doing things correctly. And I also know that if I'm not getting the feedback that I want or the results that I want, I can go and maybe identify the things that need to be tweaked. So be thinking about what that looks like for you. All right. So before we get started, what you want to do is have a list of your to-dos, right? This is before we go create a follow-up plan. Know what it is that you're wanting to accomplish and the steps that you either always follow or plan to follow to get it done, whether that's a recurring task or it's something that is maybe more project focused. And then once you're doing, you can also use AI to do this if you're unclear on any of this, and we can go check out some examples using Write with AI for that as well. So we want to first make sure that we're super clear on the purpose of the task. So anytime you are spending your most valuable resource, your time doing something, you want to understand why you're doing it, right? So if I'm going to go log into Facebook and scroll the news feed, do I know why I'm doing that? Is that the best thing that I could be doing? If I'm going to my DMs to maybe connect with somebody, what's the purpose of my going there? What am I looking to do? And then what do I do after that, right? So as you are kind of coming up with these lists, be thinking about whether or not these are related to a contact. So the example here might be prospecting or onboarding, where I'm going to perform these tasks, but they relate specifically to maybe reaching out to this person or sending this person something, etc. Right? So that would be a contact related list. And then we've got, maybe a marketing related list or a project related list. So, maybe there's something you do regularly to grow the business. So I post on social media on a weekly basis. Maybe you do create a project list for yourself where you maybe on a monthly basis come up with all of the visual content that you'll use and get all of those, the post copy prepped so that you can just log in and post when it's time. Right. And that's the thing that you show up and do regularly. Emailing your list would fall into this as well. These are tasks that you need to do, but they don't relate to a particular contact person that is in your system, in your AttractWell contact manager. And then we also have, and we're not going to get into this in great detail on this call, but we do have other trainings that talk about this. We do have the ability to apply follow-up plans to our events in AttractWell. So if you want to give yourself a to-do list that counts down to the the start date, for instance, for an event that you have, you want to give yourself a prep list for something, you can do that here as well. All right. So these follow-up plans that we are going to create, just remember that there are two ways that we use them. One of them is to apply these follow-up plans to contacts. So that means I need to do a thing that relates to this person, or we can apply these follow-up plans to ourselves. So if you haven't done so yet, create a contact in your AttractWell system that is you. You probably have done this already so that you can maybe see your broadcasts that go out, so you can see what other people are seeing. So on your contact, you can actually apply these follow-up plans to get yourself reminded to do a thing that you need to do for your business. Now, to manage your projects, let's talk about this. First, of course, we need to have a list of our to-dos, right? If we know what we want to do to get our project done, we need to have that list ready. Or if you're unclear what you need to do to get a project done, maybe you go watch a training in AttractWell, come up with a list for yourself, or we can use AI to create one. And then I want to make sure that when you are giving yourself these to-dos with these follow-up plans, that you create an individual follow-up plan for each project, right? So if this is your blog publication, quarterly blog publication project, that is going to be wholly separate from maybe you want to create a sign up for the blog newsletter funnel. That's a separate project, right? So keep these things separate from one another so that you are not confusing yourself in any way, you're not overwhelming yourself, and then make sure, to that point, that you are pursuing really one project at a time. Obviously, with AttractWell, there is an infinite number of projects you can pursue that can enhance your results, streamline how you work. But we're not going to just snap our fingers and have all of it done at once. This is something that's very custom to your business. There are plenty of plug and play systems out there, but that all of those plug and play systems assume that your business is the same as the person next to you. And that's just not the case. No two businesses are identical, even if you're selling more or less the same thing. So I want you to really honor how you want to work and the results that you want by really just focusing on creating these bespoke things, these solutions, in this case, creating these follow-up plans to manage your projects and tasks. Engage with one of these at a time. Give yourself the full experience of completion, of going from ideation, the organization, following of steps, and then ultimately the conclusion and use of the tool that you create if you are going to be embarking on these projects. And then once you've created that follow-up plan for yourself, you're going to attach it to your contact as opposed to someone else. So let's go take a look at our AttractWell system and see what this looks like. We're going to go first to, here we go, to our dashboard. And I'm going to come over here under contact settings. That's where we're going to find our follow-up plans. Here we go, right here. And the first one that I am going to create is going to be maybe a new client onboarding. So I'm going to go to add here and I'm going to call this new client onboarding. All right, so here we are in our follow-up plan. Now, this is fairly similar to campaigns in that when you create something here and you apply it to yourself, it is going to, excuse me, it's going to show up based on the applied, the date that it's applied to you, right? So let's just say, for instance, excuse me, I have just signed up a new client, they have paid, and now I want to make sure that a couple of key steps are followed. Now, maybe I do have an email that goes out to them automatically that, has them sign an agreement, for instance, but I want to make sure that the agreement email was delivered, right? So check to see if agreement email was delivered, opened. Maybe I want to see that on day one. So 24 hours after they signed up, I want to make sure that that agreement actually went through. You could choose to do that on your day 0 as well. All right. You can also, if you're maybe using a follow-up plan for events, by the way, you can actually create negative values, which is pretty cool too. Okay, so what else do I want to do? I want to see if the agreement email was delivered and opened. I'm going to maybe confirm as well, agreement received. Maybe I want to schedule first call. So I would just go through and list all of the things that I know that I want to do. And then I would go back and order them, right? So maybe I'm going to do this within the first few days. So maybe by day 3, I want to make sure that that person has sent in their agreement. I want to go ahead and schedule the first call on that first day. And then maybe I want to, I'm going to add data to progress tracker. So maybe I'm using the progress tracker feature on that contacts card in AttractWell, and I need to be reminded to add notes, right? I'm also going to add notes from initial intake. So I can create all of these for myself. And of course, all of these, the 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., these days, these can be applied right away, right? So in that case, you're going to choose day 0 or maybe day 1 if you want it to be the next day. Or you can remind yourself a little further out, right? So maybe I'm going to definitely set our first meeting with this new client within a week's time. So maybe I'm going to just remind myself after, a week has passed, just to make sure if I haven't done so, to add notes from that initial intake, right? The data that I get from them, maybe there's a form they fill out right away. I'm going to go ahead and put that into the progress tracker or set up their progress tracker so that I can be using that on our first call. Maybe I'm going to do that when I've received the agreement as well. So there we go. This is going to be contact related, right? So this is a new client. So if I have a new client, let me go and find, I'm going to go find a contact here that I can apply this follow-up plan to. So here's my new client. I'm going to come down here to to-do. You can see that there's actually already some very old stuff in here, which we've talked about this previously. It was back in 2021. I'm going to click add for my to-dos, and I'm going to go find that new client follow-up plan, or sorry, that was new client onboarding is what we called that. New client onboarding, add follow-up plan. And now you can see we have our, here we go, starting right here. We have our to-dos here. Those are going to show up on the contact itself. It's also going to show up in your dashboard. You will also, if you have under your contact settings chosen to receive an email with a digest of to-dos, you can do that under our general settings under contacts here. Just make sure that the box down here is checked. Send me a daily email of activity and to-dos. If you check this box, then your to-dos for each of those contacts is going to be in an email for you every day. Okay, so now let's go talk about creating a follow-up plan for a project. So I want to embark on a project where I'm going to batch create my monthly content, or sorry, my weekly content. I'm going to release a blog post every week. And I need to make sure that I spend, only as much time on this as is needed. And we're going to do that by batching. So this is a blog batching project, and I'm going to call it quarterly because that's when I want to do it. So I'm going to create this follow-up plan. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this. I'm going to rattle these off to you because, if this is you and you are looking for a way to streamline how you go about creating your blog content that you want to release weekly, this might be really helpful to you. If it's something else, I highly encourage you to come over here to Write with AI and prompt it to give you a plan. And then take what is given to you from this plan and go paste it right here into your follow-up plan for your project, right? So I can tell AI, I want to publish a blog post every week for the next quarter. I want to also send an email out to my list to promote the new blog post. And I want to put out a couple of social media posts a week that point to the blog post as well. Come up with a plan for me to batch produce the assets required for this project, and come up with a list of things that I need to check off and get done in order to do it, right? So prompt AI with something like that and let it give you the results, if that's what you want to do. But here's what I'm going to do. And you don't have to do this in specific order. If you're just rattling off things that you know you need to do, that's fine. Just put them all in here. You can always reorder these. All right. So the first thing that I want to do is determine 12 topics for posts, because this is quarterly. I'm going to say blog posts. I'm going to use Write with AI to draft 12 blog posts. I am then going to add AI blog posts drafts to AttractWell. Do not publish yet. Okay, I want to do all of those on the same day. That's the first part of my project. So those are all going to be that day one there. Okay, so these are all batch create. So I'm going to ideate. I'm going to use Write with AI to do that. I'm going to use Write with AI to come up with each of those 12 blog posts. And then I'm going to put those blog posts into AttractWell as drafts. Okay. Now, the next thing that I may want to do when I come back to this project, maybe I spend a block of time on this. In my next block of time, I'm going to go ahead and start getting my creative together based on the blog post drafts that we have. So I'm going to use Canva in my next sort of batch of stuff. So what I'll do here is create 12 featured images in Canva. Then I'm going to use, I'm going to use featured images in Canva to create social posts, right? So this is 12 featured images in Canva. I'm going to post on social media twice a week about my blog posts. So I'm going to need 24 social posts, right? Social post images. Perfect. Okay. So this is going to be 2. I'm going to also do this on 2 because I'm batching those 2 things together. Now I want to edit my blog post. I want to make sure that it's formatted nicely. I want to get my my sharing description together, meta description, etc. I want to have all of that figured out. I'm optimizing, right? So I've got all of my raw material together for my content. Now I'm actually going to go in and edit. So I'm going to edit and optimize the 12 blog posts. That's going to be a fairly long endeavor, right? Because you're going to want to really spend time on each of those posts, make sure that they look nice, make sure that they're, it sounds like you, go and double check the stuff that's there, put the images in where you want them, etc. So this is going to be its own day, or its own block of time rather. And then finally, we want to focus on our sharing, on our syndication. So this is where we're going to draft and schedule 12 emails to list about blog posts. We're also going to draft and schedule, or just draft and keep ready, social media posts. And that's 24 social media posts. And here, actually, I'm going to go ahead and modify, edit and optimize 12 blog posts, schedule for publication. Right, because that's scheduled. And again, that's its own thing. And this is also going to be a day 4 down here, our social media So we're going to go, what did I say there? Draft and schedule 24 social media posts about blog. And that's day 4. All right. So this is my list of things that I'm going to do when I am batch creating my quarterly blog posts or my quarterly plan, right? So this is my quarterly plan for batch creating my weekly content that I'm going to be putting out. The final step here is going to be to maybe give yourself a to-do to reapply this plan to yourself for next quarter, right? So in 120 days, so I'm going to go 120 here. I'm going to reapply blog batching project quarterly. That's the name of this follow-up plan. And there you go. So once that's done, I'm going to have a to-do on myself, on my own contact. And so I can then go and repeat this process on a quarterly basis, right? Pretty cool. So let's go look at how we do that. Jane is actually in here as herself, I think. Or is she in here as, yeah, here we go. So here is Jane. And this, again, you would be using your own contact for this. And I have done this previously. I'm going to go right over here. I'm going to go find that follow-up plan. There it is, blog batching project quarterly. Add that. And then we can see, here we go. I have these set up for when I need to do them. And of course, in my dashboard, you'll see what your to-dos are for a given day. So this is going to apply to me tomorrow. You can actually go back and change those to day 0 if you want to start applying those today. Oh, that's events with to-dos. So my to-dos, here we go. Tomorrow, I need to determine those topics. I'm going to use Write with AI and so on. And of course, you can also see that I have things that I need to do with clients as well, right? And so now when you are showing up to perform work in your business, you are clear on what you need to do and when you need to do it. And you don't need to go and come up with what I need to do today, right? Because that's work that you could have, kind of automatically generated for you if you're following these systems. So if you have questions about how this works, obviously ask away. We can look at different use cases here for projects that you want to get done, or even those recurring tasks and what those might look like for you. Really interested to hear what that might look like for you guys. We also have today 2 live reviews reserved. So Kevin and Amber, if you're here, if you could pop your hand up and just let me know that you're here. And I will be bringing you guys out shortly here to chat about whatever questions you might have. Yeah, let me know in the chat, you guys, if you have anything that you questions just on what we've discussed here today about managing those projects, as well as putting your your regular recurring tasks into something that you can easily be reminded in terms of what steps need to be performed. I think one of the biggest bottlenecks that we create for ourselves in our businesses is the idea that like we need to just remember to do things, right? There's so much that you need to manage in your business, let alone like your self-care in your life, your family, etc. You really don't need to be relying on your memory for that. You can be more present and thus more creative, more effective, etc. if you are streamlining what you're doing and really being more process oriented in this way. All right. Let's see, Kelly, do you say you help with brand new websites? Are there replays? Yes, we do. And yes, there are. So if you are looking to create a website, we have lots of really great training on that. If you are wanting, and if you're brand new, let me just show you really quickly where you can go. Obviously a call like this one, if today's topic is about creating a website, then, of course, that's great. Today, that's not the case. In the Success Academy, a couple of important things that you should definitely check out, Kelly. First is live training and replays is a great place to go if you want to see recordings of calls like this. And you could even search for topics. If you are in the process of creating something and maybe you're stuck or you need some help and you've kind of exhausted your search and you really just kind of want to talk to somebody, go over here to get help from a real person. Obviously, we can work together on a call like this. And we also have a group help call that Pam runs that's held at different times. And those are fantastic. Really great way to just kind of get past hurdles. And then, of course, there's all the different other ways to connect with our team here. So I hope that helps. Let's see, the more you can put on a to-do list, the better. Okay, Pat, how the tasks were assigned to a person. So the tasks, if they are contact related. So I have a new client and I need to do these things for or with or about this client, right? So when I get someone started, I need to add my intake notes. I need to make sure that they have signed an agreement. I need to make sure that we're friends on Facebook or whatever those things are for you. You make that a list with follow-up plans, and then you apply that to that client, because those are things you need to do that pertain to that person, right? And you want to be able to check those off for that person. And for each new client, you'll use that same follow-up plan when you're onboarding them. And the way that you do that, again, is you're going to go to your contact. And then under the to-do section, you're going to hit add, which is right here. And then you're going to choose add follow-up plan. And then now that is going to show up not only for that client, but the next time you have a new client, you're going to follow this same step. And so you'll have that to do for that client automatically there for you, right? So you don't have to remember, did I do this? Did I do that? You're not going to slip up and drop the ball, because you're always going to be following the same steps, because you're going to add this follow-up plan to the new client. And then, of course, if this is something that is simply your project, right? So you're just wanting to manage like your blog publication, or maybe you've been watching the Client Funnel Challenge and you want to just make sure that you are checking off your boxes. And so you say, okay, I'm going to look at the steps in the Client Funnel Challenge. I'm just going to create myself a little list here of to-dos. And so I need to create my lead magnet. I need to write my campaign. I need to create this page, that page, that page. And then I need to, test it, opt into it myself and test it. If you create a follow-up plan like that, you add it to yourself, right? Using these same steps, add under the to-dos, add the follow-up plan to your contact in AttractWell. And so you'll be getting those to-dos that aren't contact related, but they're still related to your business, how you want to manage it, and making sure that you are following those steps that you need to follow to get things done. Okay, Amber, there's your hand. Awesome. Hey, how can we help?
Hey, so if you go on my site and you go to my pages, I am having trouble with my, let's see, Kangen water funnel and like positioning. I just have been doing blank pages because that's easier for me to create funnels and stuff. And so on this one specifically, I don't like the look of the way the videos are showing. So I have like the 4 videos and they're spaced out too far and I don't know how to get them closer. And then also my other videos are overlapping and I don't know how to fix that.
Okay. What is the name of the page?
Kangen water funnel.
Okay. Oops, here we go. Oh, goodness. Sorry. Having a little bit of an issue with this computer today. Okay, let's go find that. Oh, here it is. Okay, so we'll view the page first and then we'll go back and take a look at how we've got it created.
Okay.
Okay. it might take a minute for me to load, and that's not a you thing. It's very much of this computer thing today. Gonna have to check this
Okay.
out. Okay, so
It's a
couple of
long one. You're just
things.
gonna have to keep scrolling.
Oh, sure. I would encourage you to, and it's fine to have a long page. I would encourage you to increase the padding, just generally, giving just a little bit more space between sections or between blocks of text or text and images, just a little bit more padding.
Okay.
Like this, for instance, a little bit more white above that would look a bit nicer. Okay.
I think my padding problems was also because I was trying to make it look good on mobile and it wasn't.
Got
And so
you.
I'm kind of struggling with that.
Okay. This video is fine, I think. I would encourage you to maybe utilize the AttractWell videos feature to display, or if you can go into your Vimeo and modify the settings so that this stuff and the Vimeo logo doesn't show up on the video. When you have someone on your website, you really want to make sure that you're really moving them toward the action you want them to take. And all of these different things that are available and clickable on this video content have the option to distract and send them somewhere completely different off of your website.
I don't know that I can do that because they are, this is like Kangen water ionizers, and so it's our team video. So I don't know that I have access to edit that.
Got you. Well, maybe if you speak with the person who manages the team
Yeah.
Vimeo account, just let them know, like from an optimizing perspective, if you're going to be sharing these on website pages like you're doing, that
Yeah.
all they have to do is just go into the display options and
Okay,
just
cool.
remove all of this stuff from
Yeah,
the
because those
videos
names
themselves.
down bottom too, like I don't want those there.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah. Okay. So you said you don't like, is it these that you were concerned about and how
Yeah.
they're showing up?
Yes. Because when you look at it on mobile, it looks really funky. And
Okay.
also, I don't really like that big space in between them.
Right. Yeah. So let's go take a look at that in the editor. All right. So on mobile, you mentioned not liking how that was showing up. Man, I've got a slow computer today. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, you would benefit a great deal, especially on mobile, for some padding in between these sections, or like in between these blocks of text.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Okay.
That one was fine. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, we've got a fair amount of space in between on these. I mean, this doesn't look bad.
Yeah, good. So how I added them was like two pictures, and then I added another page with two pictures, and then I added the video
Uh-huh.
for like adding Vimeo. So I think that's why there's that space in the middle. I just don't know how to edit that in between two sections.
Right. Yeah. So couple of options there. Um the first is we can actually look at the padding in these specifically. It looks like there may be a bit of padding beneath, right on the top and bottom of these. So we can decrease the padding at the top of this section and the bottom of this one to shrink that down.
Okay.
And that will make a difference. But if you're wanting it to really, okay, and this is a generalization, but if you want things to look a very specific way on mobile and a very specific way on desktop, it's often just beneficial to duplicate your sections or just design sections and just have some that are hidden from the smaller devices and display on the larger ones, or they're hidden from the larger ones, display on the smaller ones, right? So having the multiple versions just actually created for the purpose of that. So let's take a look at the padding of this this top section here. It looks like there's none on the top, none on the bottom. So there's maybe some padding in the individual. Man, my browser is terrible today. There may be it may be that we need to look at these individual elements and the padding that they have. See, there's actually quite a lot going on here. Do you see how like there's a whole thing up here? And then like, do you see that? Let me
Yeah, I
just
don't know
take a
what that
look.
section's for right there. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So let's hover over so that we can just grab everything that's here and we'll click it. And then I'm just gonna take a quick look at the code that's in here. Because it could be that we might be able to safely remove some space. Yeah, see you see all these breaks. I think you maybe hit enter a few times
Okay.
where we don't necessarily need to. So I'm just going to delete those. And then let's see if that kind of removes some of that from the bottom. It definitely looks a bit like there's a bit less extra space here. I'm also just going to kind of backspace here as well, just to delete that very top. There's some more on the bottom here.
Can you tell me what you did to get to the coding part right there? When you highlighted it all, what button did you press after?
Yeah. So again, you want to hover over so that you're selecting the entire area in this case.
Okay.
And then I'm clicking the three dots here, and then there's
Okay.
code view.
Okay.
And just look for those, so that break in brackets there, that is like hitting enter. It's a line break. And so if you don't need the break there, then you can delete it. So there's one up here at the top. We don't need this. And I don't think that we need it at the bottom either. So let's see what that looks like. And it looks like that shrank that quite a bit. So we can repeat that down here on the bottom. Again, select the whole thing, because it does look like there's that break that you saw where we had that highlight at the very top that had nothing in it. That was that break in the code.
Okay.
So yeah, sometimes that's just a really like quick and easy way to do this. So I'm just going to go in and delete those additional ones that we don't need. So like the before and after. You can add padding. It's better to add padding than the line breaks because you have more control over that. So yeah, that should help. It looks like it's already quite a bit less space top and bottom. So let's take a quick look and see. But yeah, if you're still seeing a little bit more space than you want, my recommendation would be to just create a section that just has video, like in a straight line down, and just have that be viewable on mobile. So that it's not like a side-by-side thing, because it's going to show up, not next to each other, but, one before the other in a linear sense on mobile anyway. So we'll take a look at desktop first to see how this is showing up.
So by that, you mean copy the page to make a whole nother page, but then make it just for mobile?
Oh, no. It would just be a section. So I'll show you here in just a second. Let's see how this looks on mobile though. Yeah, so we still have a little bit of space here. And this is something that can happen when you have several, sections next to each other. It automatically, like just the way our editor works, it automatically creates a little bit of space because we don't want like that, kind of run on everything jumbled up on top of each other. And so what I would do here, if we don't love this and we want it to look a very specific way on mobile, is let's hide these two sections from our mobile view. And then I'm going to create a section. And this is just going to be a single column section because it's mobile. It's going to show up one before the next and so on. And so this single column section, if I could get back to it. My goodness, this is not a day for screen sharing on this device. Okay. I guess I'm due for a new laptop. I don't love that. Okay. So what I would do here is, I would hide this from desktop view.
Okay.
There we go. And so here I would just, I would put the videos, right? So, let me get into the content editing here, right? So I'm going to delete all this. I'm going to center it, and then I'm going to start adding video, right? So I'm just going to put like a placeholder in here for you. I don't know if you have any videos in your account. Yeah, here we go. So I'm just going to select this one, and you can just, obviously swap it out with the one that you want. So I'm gonna, here we go. That's there. Perfect. That is, I'm gonna auto width that also, just cause this, we're gonna have this show up in mobile. It's not something we want to be tiny. I'm gonna hit enter after, and then I'm gonna go add a another, right? Actually here, I'm gonna go back. All right, I'm gonna get out of the auto width toggle here just so I can see after, get my cursor in there. But basically what you're gonna wanna do is just add your, add your next video after this one and have them all be in the same section here, right?
Yeah,
so
that
I'm
makes
gonna
sense.
add, yeah. And just, keep doing that. I'll go ahead and add one more so you can see what this looks like when it's on mobile. But that way it looks more, specifically designed and intentional on mobile, and you don't have to worry about what this looks like on desktop. So just make sure you have the same settings for each. So if I'm toggling auto width on this one, I'm going to want to make sure I do it on all of them.
Okay.
So that it looks nice. Here we go. Oh my gosh. There we go. Okay. So yeah, once we have that done, you can go view this. Nobody's going to see this on desktop, right? So if we go to desktop, here, the computer preview, it's going to show the 2x2 that you already created. But if we are on mobile, it's going to show only the section that we built for mobile. So let me get all the way down here. In our desktop version, this should be exactly the same as what we saw previously, which just is really going to take a million years on this computer today. But yeah, does that make sense? Like you're basically just creating a version that's only viewable on mobile, and then you have a version that is only viewable on desktop.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the only other thing while that page is loading, since it's also on that page, the 4 videos, if you keep going down, like I can't, and maybe it's like what you were saying with the sizing, but one is like overlapping the next, and then I can't get them to like be the same size.
Interesting.
Right there, those. If you actually
Yeah.
view it on desktop, like, do you see how right there is spacing, but if you view it on desktop, it's overlapping. That one on the right is overlapping the one on the left.
Oh, interesting. Well, I mean, I am on this is a desktop view right now. This is the published page as it shows up on on a laptop computer, like a standard laptop. Oh, here we go. See, there's those videos. By the way, here, let's look at mobile and what's happening there. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, these seem to be, whatever your settings are here, are working fine on mobile. Definitely want some space in between those two, but yeah, let's maybe take a look at what is going on there.
I'm guessing the auto width would fix that, by the way.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so I'm going to Actually, here, let me just do the whole thing. If I can select the whole thing, there we go. It appears to be almost like a column thing though, right? Because this one is, might be a column width thing happening. Okay. So if I click this and I toggle auto width, it does that. And then that. Huh. This is not quite the same. Here, let's look at what might be going on in the background here. Oh boy. This might be a little over my head.
You try using the
So
column editor, that might show. It looks
yeah,
like it is using columns, maybe one's 5 and one's 7.
yeah, that could be. Yeah, good point. All right. So yep, we go to the column editor here. And it looks like it's 1. This is showing up as 1 column.
If you click it, it should show you more details. It just highlights everything.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there we go. So if we go 6 and 6, then the columns are the same width. From there, you just want to make sure that the videos themselves, you do have the ability to size them. And depending on the source, where they're coming from, that like how it's displaying the dimensions that it's displaying with can be affected by whatever, you know, if you're using code, you're pasting in like an embed code kind of thing, like
Okay,
that
yeah.
can impact the resolution size of the video. So so that the column thing that Greg just mentioned, that is going to keep them neatly separated. But why this one is, you know, a different resolution is, well, why is it there? Come on. Okay, this one. Okay. If we click the video and go to the size, it is very specific. So let's just go to, so we've got width and height here. I'm just going to go auto and update. Oh, that ain't it. Toggle auto width. What is the size of the other one? Because this one seems to be the right size.
Would 100% work in there?
Oh, that's a good idea. See, I don't know these things that well. Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I gave you a doozy today.
Oh, yeah. No, you know what? It would be fine if it weren't for my absolutely not old laptop to be bugging out today. I am just what and what did I just do? Okay, I'm gonna refresh this so I don't save these weird changes. But yeah, so putting 100% in the width category is going to basically restore it to whatever the origin resolution was, right? And
Okay.
again, depending on where it's coming in from, that might be different from another video that you're bringing in. Because like if you've got one from Vimeo and one from YouTube, generally speaking, a lot of videos do have a pretty standard resolution size, but sometimes they are different, right? Like if you're embedding a video from TikTok, for instance, the resolution, the shape, the size is going to be a bit different. So the issue with this section is twofold. The first is columns, right? So we do have a difference in column size here. So I'm going to take this one down to 6, like I did previously, and this one up to 6, so that we're working with the same width of column. And then we're going to go in, find that section again, because this is insane. I'm going to now edit the content. So this content editor. Let me go ahead and close out of my column editor here. Okay, so now I'm editing content. I'm going to click this guy, click the video, And then under change size, I'm going to get rid of what's here. And I'm going to put I'm going to put 100% here, go update. I'm also going to toggle auto width here, go done. And it now looks like they're about the same size. Obviously there's, you know, the copy you have above this one is kind of pushing this one down a bit, but let's go ahead and make sure that that setting is the same with all of the videos that you have here. And then, you know, that'll help you as well. So toggle auto width, and then let's also go in and just do 100% here as well. And that way, if you've got the settings the same, now, these are absolutely the same size. Now it's just that, you know, the copy there's a difference in the copy. If you're in a position where you're wanting to, you know, kind of describe a video on a page, or really in any case, it might be an image where you're doing something like this. If the length of the copy differs greatly, I would just put it underneath the video. So that you're still keeping things on the same line where the videos are concerned on desktop.
Okay. Well, yay. Thank you.
Yeah, we figured it out.
My internet.
Gosh, no, you're good. So I would go through and just make sure that you're doing that with the other videos on the page as well.
Okay,
just
cool.
to keep that consistency there.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. Okay, I guess I didn't see you here, Kevin. We can still chat if you would like to. Here, let me see if I missed anything here. Nope, just an AI bot. Cool. All right. Well, let me know if you guys have any other questions. We have a request for next week to do some visual workflows. Someone who's come over from using other contact managers, and Zapier was interested in kind of creating a map for like onboarding and other types of processes in AttractWell. So I hope you guys will join us back here for that next week. We will be back on Thursday, 2 p.m. US Eastern Time. Hope you have a great week. Till then, take care, everybody.